What about I need my hands. I can't do this. Charlotte?
Thank you to White House, who is our sponsor for the entire year. They actually have a collaboration with the Phluid project that you can see over here. So we've got Rita Spritzes and Gabe Wine at the bar, and a special thank you to Jake and Melissa for the cupcakes. Where is it? Right there. Cool. So I'm going to get out of the way. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Queer in the Culture, our panel moderated by our very own Cecily Bowman.
This is Mike. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. All right. I also talk loud, so I'm Cecily. I'm senior entertainment editor here at Nylon. But this actually is not about me. I was checked downstairs. And I was told that my panelists would introduce themselves, and I would not introduce them. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the Queer in the Culture panel. I guess I won't introduce you, though. Okay.
Hi, no one checked in for you. My name is Kimberly Drew. I am a writer, curator, activist based here in New York.
Hi, I'm Nari Jones. I'm an actress, model, and actress.
Hi, I'm Erica Hart, pronouns she, they, a sexuality educator, and writer, activist, that's me. Sometimes model, occasional model.
What's up, y'all? My name is Nico Lara. I'm a film director and television.
Hi, I am Tariq Uchiko-Song. And I'm an activist, an artist, and a producer.
Give it up, y'all. First of all, I want to say thank you all so much for being here. Also, I'm very honored to just basically be on camera with my friends. I've worked and hung out with y'all in all different types of capacities, and I'm just so grateful to be here. So I think I want to kick it off looking back a little bit. And when you think about the work that you're doing, all of you all do different types of work, and we'll get into that as we have the discussion. Tell me a little bit more about the legacy that you're following, and like what queer person or people are really kind of operating as your guiding light. And they can be ancestors, they can be people who are still with us, they can be your boo, your bae. Just tell me about the legacy that you're following. Anyone can jump in.
I could say that Audrey Lord is very inspirational for me. The projects that I do are all about freedom of expression, and not talking about the victimization of us, but the power of us, and highlighting that, because I feel like oftentimes we tell stories about how things are difficult, but there's no how to be in a liberated space. So she really inspires me a lot.
I'd say it's probably a controversial state, I guess, maybe. It's like the Black church is an inspiration for me. It's something that a lot of queer culture has co-opted, so like the yes, that's all from Black churches. And from Black femmes in the Black church doing the absolute most. And where the Black church has been a site of pain for me, so has the queer community. So I think that they play the same kind of game. And also just Black femmes, like my mom getting dressed, like being super high femme, like that's all been such an influence for me as a queer person, for sure.
I would like to say like Tracy Africa, role models, especially trans women of color who got into this industry, you know, trying to navigate things that were going to be against them, but still became successful at it, you know, and being that representation so that people like myself become an industry and can do the same.
For me, it's my aunt Deborah Devon, who is a lesbian, and is a lesbian who was living in Boston in the 70s, and will just casually name drop Swerver, like people who are the company or collective, like very casually. And I love her legacy and story because she's also a person who was there. And I think oftentimes when there's movements happening, you think about being a person who's like so central, blah, 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 but she was present and she was in community with those people, and her story is equally important. And then separately, I would say I'm deeply inspired by the Art Collective. not exactly the answer to your question, but it is so nice to know younger people who I feel like are very much a part of the same lineage that I am. It makes me feel like I don't have to work as hard, and so for that, I'm very thankful to them.
I love what you said too about thing, but I actually love that you mentioned that because I think that context is so important, and it's very easy for us to romanticize movement when we are only looking at a handful of key figures who, have their names on the literature or whose memory has, been documented, but the experience of queer folks, especially Black queer folks, is that we aren't documenting our histories or in any way. So like those stories of just our aunts or our uncles or, our fake uncle, right? Like those stories are so important. I think about, I have an uncle Garrett who passed away from age. I think he's one of the scarecrows in the Wiz. Like that is like, those are the stories that they would rather erase about what Motown was like and Uncle Garrett. So I love that too.
Yeah, my two are the first is fire arrested. Just a person who got shit done, you know what I mean? And didn't necessarily the credit or the fame and acclaim for it. And then I'll say the other is someone who was a little worse, but when she said what she said what she said, which is Joy Corey.
So thinking about the work now, what kind of holes did you see that existed that really kind of inspired you to step into any of the various roles, either that you currently have or ones that you've had? I think that I would say that everyone on this panel moves with a sense of purpose, right? I want to know the why of that.
I'll jump in. In my work as a program director at True Colors United, we're a national organization that works to end and bring awareness to LGBTQ homelessness. And in the national space around youth homelessness, there are not many people of color in positions of power. And that's sort of juxtaposed to the population that's most impacted, which are LGBTQ young people who are Black and brown, right? That's not reflected in national and international leadership. And so I think that's sort of an intentional shift. And then I would say the authentic representation of the ballroom community worldwide. We know that that ballroom has had these cycles of resurgence over and over and over. And in these cycles, the folks in the community have not been at the forefront of creating these projects and been in positions of power. And so for me, it's been those two.
So we know that media dictates society, basically. So growing up, there was no fat people, there were no trans people, there were hardly any dark-skinned Black people. So I really wanted to be a part of that, or to be the catalyst of that, to really, make that representation possible, and do it at a caliber where it would leave a mark. So being in this industry is you still have to know how to move through it, but also when you get into those rooms, using your filters to get into those rooms, expanding it wide open. So when I do these big projects or TV, film, I'm also making sure that other people who don't have the same filters as me can get into those rooms as well.
Projects like what? Just curious.
Tales of the City, campaign, films, billboards,
30th and 7th.
30th and 7th when I was here. But yeah, really trying to get my foot through the door and then bust the shit wide open. So.
For me, my first film, The Same Difference, talked about the internalized discrimination that we have within the community. And I feel like oftentimes, we have a lot of conversations about what's happening to us outside of it. So it was, I felt like we need to talk about what's going on inside within us personally and then within our community. So then whatever we project, we attract beauty because we feel beautiful and we feel powerful. And I think that when I grew up, in the Black lesbian community, at least where I'm from, it was either masculine or feminine. And I was always felt like I was on either side depending on the day I woke up. And at the time right now, we're having those nuanced conversations, but when I made the film, these conversations were not being had. So I felt like, let's work on within ourselves, within the community, and through that, I feel like people were blessed outside of it who were not lesbian, gays, bi, or anything, I feel like they were able to be blessed by seeing us be empowered through our own stories. So I like it being about us and our empowerment. So I feel like that's where the power can come from within.
For me, I string the beginning of my career as an arts professional together by a few lectures that I'd seen. So I'd have visiting people who come to visit my college, and they'd say something about art that I didn't think was possible. And for me, I do a lot of public speaking, and one day I realized that if I say I'm queer on stage, it resonates with people in the audience. And so from that day forward, I say it every single time that I speak. Every single talk, no matter what the hell I'm talking about, I just want people in the room to hear that echo and to feel that presence. And in a similar way to what you're saying, Gary, where it's like, I want the door to be as wide as possible. Especially because I work in an industry where it's like a lot of white gays. And so like, what does it mean to be brown and very, 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 very unapologetically so?
I think in some ways I like to expose that there isn't a gap per se, or that there isn't a hole. We just are carrying the legacy of folks who came before us. So folks like Audre Lorde and James Baldwin and Barrett Rustin, like we are just doing that work. Marsha P. Johnson, and also as a breast cancer survivor. So Audre Lorde, breast cancer survivor, bringing awareness and talking about Black lesbians inside of the breast cancer community. I found after reading the cancer journals, I was saying the same things that Audre Lorde was saying in the 80s, right? So it was disheartening, right, to even be saying the same things, to be saying like, why aren't there Black queer breast cancer survivors? Why are they relating to our bodies like we are desexualized? Why can't I be sexy and have a chronic illness? Why can't I reclaim my sexuality and have no nipples, right? So all of those things were something that I found that I just get to carry, right? I get to continue the legacy of Audre Lorde and continue to interrupt spaces in those ways.
That's actually such a good transition too, because I think the breast cancer awareness industry is such an industry, right? In a very commercialized one.
Yes.
So when you think about it in those terms, and you think about whose narratives are missing, then it makes perfect sense why you still have to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, actually, I do, obviously we can talk about how like everything is gay now, okay? Like Listerine had a pride flag, okay? They were selling to people, okay? Target is gay, and Wells Fargo is gay.
Are they gay or are they rainbow?
Exactly, right? So we have this thing where then people are like, okay, you know, let's we want to do representation, right? And I really want to know if we know that not all of these initiatives for representation are authentic or genuine. How do we kind of balance that opportunity to have a seat at some of the most important tables in the world? And I think even outside of this group, you know, like so many queer people are working in spaces where they see none of themselves. You know, my partner works in an industry where there are very few people who like anybody who works in finance, anyone who works, you know what I mean? Like we can name them over and over again. So how do you balance having a seat at the table versus what might be either pandering, tokenism, and then also like busting down the door for somebody else to come behind you?
I only do stuff that my friends call me for, and normally they're inside somewhere at the table also, which is so beautiful about 2019. Twiggy will call me and say, hey, you do this panel, you'll call me. I just did a Cadillac ad and a Fiverr ad.
This is just the blackest thing I've ever done. I should have seen they can sitting on this fucking Cadillac. I was like, look at this nigga.
But yeah, exactly, that's what I did. But yeah, like I feel like from the inside, you know, if someone is connected on the inside, then I know, and if people are getting paid appropriately, those are things I always ask for. When I've worked on projects for companies that have been challenged and pressed, I've done shows for them, and you can ask anybody, I'm the first one in the email, like how much is the cast getting paid, how much, I'm spending time with the people that I'm doing films on, making sure everybody's getting what they deserve at every turn. So that's the way I regulate it. If I have the power, if I'm a part of this, then this is what you have to do. And I regulate and I get a little bossy and say, all right, you want me on here, you also have to get this person, and everyone should be paid this. I push and I keep pushing. I disrupt everything.
Yeah, I do the same. I like to infiltrate, go in there like a ninja, take their money, make sure the money's good, raise it if I need to, and then bring in my people, you know? And then slowly by slowly, it's like, oh, you're here too? Oh, look, you're here too? And then all of a sudden it becomes ours, you know, where it belongs, to us. So I get the seat and then take the table later. No, that's what to do, right, for me.
Yeah, it's such an interesting question. I think a lot about it, and for me, I'm like a serial optimist, almost to a fault. And in my like realm, I'm a Leo. All day. Pisces rising, so it's a mess. It's a mess. I like go and meet astrologers and they're like, ooh. But for me, I believe so much in the power, of course, of media, right? And so for me, I think about if I'm partnering with a brand, if I'm partnering with an organization of some sort, and I know that there will be a reverberation off of that action, I want to go into it with as much hopefulness as possible. Because I know my politics, and I know that I needed to see someone like me when I was younger. And I think that those questions and the answers to them are really complicated ones, but I also think like we're all so lucky to be in this space, in this city, and that's not everyone's opportunity, you know? People really need to know that there's a shift that's happening. They need to see that externalized. They need to see our faces, research us more, understand that it's not just about brands, it's about the individuals that are being put forward. And so for me, I have like this last shred of optimism that's so hardcore that when I see Yari out there, or when I see Erica out there, or when I see any of the people on this panel out there, that reverberation can be so powerful. Even if people hate it, right? And if people want to do better, like we'll all benefit from that.
Side note, before I forget my point, instead of asking, like, somebody gives you an offer and then tell you they want to give you like a paycheck to do something, also teaching people, like, ask for equity. Say you keep the check, ask for stock in the company, make the money back, create another opportunity with the money that you make from the investment. So I just want to put that out there.
Word. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, you got that, manager. You got that. And there's so much power in saying no. And I said no to so many organizations this month. Airbnb, Lyft, Absolute Vodka, because all of these places, the question I always ask is, who are the Black trans women on your staff? And they're like, we have a very diverse staff, but we don't actually have any Black trans women. So that doesn't make any sense to me, considering Black trans women have a life expectancy of 35, and they're some of the most unemployed people in this country. So I'm like, there's no way.
Like Lyft and Absolute, they drink, and they have to go places, and other places. Like, why aren't they represented in these companies?
Lyft just had a whole, their staff just did a whole protest about not getting paid fair wages. So then why are we now slapping a rainbow on some stuff in June when you haven't gotten that rectified? Don't pay me, pay your people that drive people all the time. So that is what I've been talking to them about. Since you're emailing me, I now have the opportunity to go and make that difference. And this country is anti-Black. Like, people love to talk about queerness and gender and never talk about race. So I'm always interested in like that intersection. It's like, who are the Black queer people on your staff? And you brought up Target. I used to work for Glisten, and Glisten is the people who are profiting from the Target ad. Glisten is incredibly racist. I worked there. I was at the table, right? So it's like you're at the table and you're a Black queer person at a queer organization and they treat you like shit. So it's then what do you do, right? It's like you feel like, and I'm getting to that job thinking I'm gonna be good. Because queer people aren't racist. Yeah. That's not true, right? Your queerness will not absolve your racism. It just won't. It just won't. Your anti-Blackness, it just won't. So that's what I come with. I'm like, I've been looking at my account too. Like, damn, I could be very wealthy in the month of June, and I'm not, right? And I think it's better because I sleep better at night, right? Integrity, right?
Ditto. Sometimes you don't need to add anything.
So, would you all agree that if you don't identify as an artist, but you all agree that in some capacity on lower the art?
Yes.
So, what do you think that relationship between like art and activism, media and advocacy, like what in an ideal world, what should that relationship be? What should it look like, and how should it inform that? And then after that, just to give you guys an update on where we are. After that, we're gonna play 2 Truths and a Lie, and then but you guys are gonna be trying to figure out the lie, and then we're gonna take the questions from you all. So I just want to give you guys the pause for where we are.
I mean, I think there's all sorts of relationships between art and activism. Art is activism and vice versa, right? And so I'll use pose as an example, and just recently did this interview, shout out to Taylor, to speak about sort of the difference between season 1 and season 2, and this heavy focus on activism and ACTA, et cetera, et cetera. And I had to point out, like, walking onto the ballroom floor is activism, right? Like showing up, getting on that runway and saying, this is who I am, and I'm beautiful, and I love myself, that is activism. Right? Like that art and that expression is activism, and so they're sort of synonymous in this way.
Like I was saying before, like art or media dictates real life. So if we hire trans people, if we hire queer people, we hire people of color to write the shows, to be in the shows, to produce the shows, then we're allowing ourselves to humanize ourselves in media, which then dictates whether or not policy is going to happen, whether or not people are going to grab their resources, you know. If Mid-America is watching Pose, and we know that a black writer is behind it, or a trans writer is behind it, telling authentic stories, then that person is able to humanize the person that's in media, and then when they see everyday people, everyday trans people, everyday queer people, then they have some kind of relationship now, instead of just pointing back at the other. So I think it definitely coincides.
Well, on the other end of the spectrum, I would say, I think a lot about how every movement has had its images or had its media. And so I think oftentimes there's like an unspoken tension between the two, where art might be fodder on the activism side or the activism side, like whatever. But I do think of them as like, they're inseparable. And I think that relationship is really powerful. And in the same way that activism can be co-opted by capitalism, so can art. They're twins in a way. They're like Geminis.
I use every single film. Every film I do has to have action after it. I'm not just going to tell you what's wrong with you and that was the movie, you leave the theater and you walk away. I actually spend time, number one, teaching, empowering, taking that to schools, doing seminars, helping us, like I said, have the confidence within ourselves, and most importantly, education. I feel like a lot of times right now, our language separates us like socioeconomically. Like a lot of people I grew up with in the hood don't understand the terms that we use, you know, that I might use with, you know, here on the panel, they might understand that. So I would bring that to a film and translate that information so everyone's able to understand, like, this is what's going on with you. This is what's happening to you. Because when you're in that state of oppression, you have no idea sometimes the things that are happening to you. I remember when I used to work at BT way back, it was like one of my first jobs, I was working with all black people. I left that company before I worked with Netflix, and I worked with all white people. And my my boss's son was an 8-year-old, he was teaching me about rocket science. And I'm like, he watched Hidden Figures and he had all these breakdown rocket science, and I was like, wow, the information we know and just the gap and the difference is crazy to me. And so around that time, I went to the African American Museum, and when I went to the African American Museum and see all the stuff that we had done that I hadn't learned at that point, I was like, wow, I was angry. And so I promised myself that in every film I would teach everyone, like, this is what happened to you, but teach it in a way where it's digestible, it's entertaining, it's fun, and they can be in a state to be able to receive that, and then be empowered within themselves to do something about it. Because when you're disempowered, you rely on just instant gratification, what someone tells you you are. So that's most important to me, is how powerful we are. I'm not worried about what anybody is doing to us. I'm worried about how we feel about ourselves so we can go out and move forward and see optimism. That's important to me.
I think I want to see it transfer a little bit faster, and maybe I'm just impatient. I'm a Sagittarius, so so I feel like, for example, Billy Porter was interviewed because y'all did something, something. There was something that happened. Pose did something. Oh, the season 2 came out. Yes. And Essence, right? Sagittarius. In Essence, did an interview with Billy Porter, and the comments that because they put it up on their Instagram. And the comments are incredibly homophobic, they're incredibly gross. And I'm just like, I need the art, because these folks are also probably watching Pose, right? And I need it to transfer from art to real life. Like, ballroom is people's lives. Like, it is a show on television, but it's been people's lives for a very, very long time. Me and Twig used to sit in nonprofit meetings and talk about the ball we're gonna put on at the nonprofit. That would be like 6 years ago. So I think it's important that it transfers, and I think as an educator, I'm like, I need it to transfer. Like, I need y'all to be great, like right now, not just to the famous people that are queer, I do, but to the people in your life, to the people that is in your finance department that's queer, right? I'm interested in a transfer, and I feel like it's not moving fast enough, and that's just me being impatient a little bit.
Sorry to interrupt, but I feel like the resist sign is kind of like the rainbow. You know, like
It is.
people like,
It
there's
is.
like all these families in Fort Greene that have resist
Yes.
sign. I'm like,
Resist what?
Right.
Like Black Lives Matter sign. There's a sign that's like immigrants are welcome here. Can they come in your house? Is that what this is? Can I come in your house?
like very little like pesticide.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, so you want plaster and rainbow everywhere, but when you see black trans women being assaulted on the train, you're real quiet.
Or when you walk past black people in your neighborhood, you don't say hello.
Okay, but you know, speaking is something that is very specific to us as black folks. That is, why don't they teach that everywhere?
They don't.
When y'all talk to speak,
They
like,
don't.
when y'all talk to just like, this is a real question.
The white people in the room.
Yeah, when y'all talk to folks from our white
Say
kids,
hello.
when you talk to speak to people, like,
You make eye contact.
make eye contact with you. Okay.
I think it's also, I think it's not a racial thing. I think it's also a regional thing.
That's true. That's
Like,
true.
racial,
Very true.
you know, I think it's like,
Exactly.
as a Jersey bitch, when people are nice to me, I'm like,
What you want? Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. This is a perfect transition. All right. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna play Two Truths and a Lie. We're basically gonna just do it by majority. So every single person on this panel, I'm gonna start to model. Every single panelist is gonna say their two truths and a lie and start thinking of them. And then I'll just ask you all, cheer if you think the number one is a lie, cheer if you think number two is a lie, cheer if you think number three is a lie, whatever it is. And I'm gonna model it for you all first. All right, so I'm gonna say 3 things about myself. One of them is a lie. 1, I went to my first pride parade with my mama. I got this hair that I'm wearing for $300. And my favorite thing is to introduce people to my favorite female rapper. So number 1, my first pride parade was with my mama. Number 2, I got this hair for $300. Number 3, my favorite thing is to introduce people to my favorite female rapper. If you think it's number 1, clap. Y'all think it's a lie that I went to my first pride parade with my mama?
No, that's the truth.
All right. If you think it's a lie that I got this hair for $300. Erica, you ready? Okay, Erica, go first. Yeah, Erica's not gonna. I already know you're not gonna be good at this. But okay, go ahead.
Shit. I always do this from Skippy, Cecily.
Okay, Yari. Copy it, Yari.
I'm good friends with Janelle Monáe. I'm the first black woman to produce a can.
The truths are hard to come up with though, because you don't know what to tell people about yourself.
That's true.
I love chocolate mint ice cream.
I thought you were gonna say chocolate man first. So what y'all think is the lie? Y'all think 1, 2, or 3. Y'all think that she's really good friends with Janelle Monáe?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all think that she's the first person to produce that can? Yeah. So y'all don't think she fucked you with the chocolate man? Which
brush your teeth and eat Snickers. That's
Twiggy, you like
I'm from the same city as Pharrell Williams. I am co-director of Virtual Reality Experience. I have taught about ball culture and runway in over 15 countries.
Thank you, Slay.
Yeah.
So let's actually start from the other way. Do y'all think that Tweety has taught about ballroom culture in 15 countries?
Yes.
I don't think that, but what did you say? What was the virtual reality thing?
Co-director of Virtual Reality Experience.
Co-director of virtual reality experience. And I think that's true. Or that's a lie. Y'all don't seem you too good at this. Everybody trust you. They don't even know. You got the people confused. Twiggy. So wait, do we think that's a lie or we think that's the truth? Okay. And then what was the first piece?
I'm from the same
Oh,
city
that's
as
a
Pharrell
lie.
Williams.
Do you think that's a lie? What's the lie?
I'm from the same city as Missy Elliott. I am co-directing a virtual reality experience that I have taught in over 15 countries.
Yeah. See, I thought with the last one it was gonna be like, no, I've only done it in 14. You know what I mean? I thought you was trying to play it into the money. All right, Kimberly, you are up next. I want to surprise you because I thought you were gonna be too good.
My favorite color is purple.
You see, she was ready.
I'm from New Jersey. And
Girl, ain't that third one hard?
I know it's so hard. I'm like, where do I want to go with this? My favorite city in the world is Marrakesh.
Do you all think that her favorite city in the world is Marrakesh? No.
Yes.
Do you think that purple is a favorite color? And see, I don't feel like I can trust that either. Because you know what I mean? And do y'all think that?
She's from Jersey, she said that.
Which of the first and the third is the lie? Which one? Y'all think Marrakesh is the lie? Yeah. I think purple is the lie.
Purple is a I love Tiffany blue.
Ooh.
I'm ready. Okay. This hair glows in the dark. Ooh. I wanted to is I woke up hungover from champagne last night. 3, I went to high school in Puerto Rico.
I know which one was So, 1, 2, and 3. Which one y'all think is the lie?
You can turn it
So everyone thinks that you did not wake up hungover.
Why?
I asked them why. You just tell them if they're right.
Turn the lights off. Turn the lights off.
Yeah, I had champagne yesterday, but I didn't drink that much. My hair glows in the dark, and I did go to high school in Puerto Rico.
All right, give a panelist a round of applause.
I didn't go. You can't have me think that long. All right, ready? Okay, I'm a praise dancer. 1. Number 2, I'm from the Bronx. Number 3, I've been on stage with Destiny's Child.
You just laughed with a stone cold face. I have no clue what
Those
that
are all true.
I honestly do not know.
Them is all true.
Yeah. If you tell me you're not being crazy, you better get ready to get off
Put
the
on the same number, right?
You ready to get first floor. All right, which one think is the lie?
Y'all everyone ever praise dance at the Phluid project?
Just tell me. I don't even want to know the phone. Which one is the lie?
I live in the Bronx.
Yeah, I'm the Bronx accent. There's no Bronx.
Okay, back. We're about to open this up for audience questions. I will see this crazy before I do that.
Amen.
What song though?
Right.
Okay.
So,
speak loud.
Show of hands, just speak loud. Come on, microphone. Yeah, what's up?
So my question is, especially with the work that everybody on the panel does, I think that there is a focus on the intensity of the work. So I'm wondering how each of you prioritizes pleasure.
Cool, that's a great question. We can repeat it.
Yeah.
How do, the question is with all of the intensity, correct me if I'm wrong, with all the intensity of the work that we do, how do we prioritize pleasure and joy?
I turn my goddamn phone off. I don't do anything after 10, unless it's like a party or something, but like work after that, computer shut down or email shut down. I go on like month or 2 month long vacations after doing like a shit ton of work. And I try to see family or friends every day.
I just got 2 quick ones. One is every month for 1 day I put my phone in the drawer. Like literally put my phone in the drawer and I don't get it. And then at least once a week, but I try to do daily. I write 5 days I'm grateful for, 5 days I'm manifesting, and 5 things I'm working on myself.
One, masturbation.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to sex educator comes out. 2, I just got a puppy, so I'm not sure if that's pleasure or pain. I'm not sure which one that is at this point. Some spurts of joy. I'm not being like eating in my face. And then I do a little bit of praise dance like every Sunday with my partner. We have like gospel Sundays, and that brings me pleasure.
Y'all should watch it on live.
Yeah, we do. We do put it online sometimes. We should start a group. Don't let me start groups now.
I know, praise dance. I like
Praise dance.
Right, yeah. Oh my God, that's perfect. I really like to involve people on social media because I feel like I don't get to connect enough because I'm working. So like, for example, like I just recently did a Beyonce dance class. I watched her do Get Into the Money on the Netflix tour, and I was like, it felt like my spirit. So I went on Instagram and I was like, can somebody teach me the Get Into the Money dance? And then all those people commented, and Beyonce's dancer commented and said, I'll teach you. And I said, okay, let me invite like 10 people from social media to come take it with me. So I just sent out a bunch of invitations. People that I didn't even know came to the dance studio. We learned to dance, and it was a form of expression because I direct now and I used to dance. So letting that out is super important for me, but also connecting to the people that support my work, and I'm supporting them by doing the work, and so that connection is super important to me. So having space for that, creating it, and bringing everybody together.
I like frequent breaks. I'm not like a disappear for a month working kind of person. Like, I'm very public in the work that I do, and so I try to seize 2 hours here, 2 hours there. I too masturbate, which I really got out of practice, and so now I'm like really getting back in there. And so I think in the opportunity, it could be, like I think that there is a way in which this city sometimes, or our work sometimes can demand so much of this, and so I don't try to make a project of self-care, where it's like, oh, I have to clear my whole calendar, because that's just never gonna happen. But I know that I can go to my favorite lunch spot, or like before this I went to Blue Ribbon, because I was like super stressed all day, just like, is me and this fried chicken for the next 30 minutes. And I just try to soak those up.
We have a question over here on the side of the room. Y'all chat? Oh, wait, no, we don't want. What advice would you give to young people trying to make it in the art world who are scared shitless?
I would say, I would say make a list of the things that you're afraid of. Just look at it. Because those things are real. Like, that fear is just your body protecting itself. And I think that fear isn't a thing that can stop you, but I think that sitting with it is important, right? Like, I think sometimes it's like about being fearless. No, it's scary out there. But I think sometimes sitting with it is important for me personally. Like, if I know something's gonna go wrong, I kind of like workshop all the things that could possibly go wrong. And then after that, I visualize why it could be great, why it could be important, what you're doing it for. Because once you get in, it's still more work. You know, it's not like you step through the door and it's easy. But I think that visualization practice, that manifesting practice is really valuable and will keep you going.
And if it scares you, it's the right way to go. That means that you have opportunity, even if you crash and burn and fuck your shit up. You have an opportunity to learn from it as well. So if it scares you, run towards it. If it's not scaring you, pick something else or make it scary. I don't know.
I want you to add on to that, like, it's okay to take the fear with you. I think sometimes when people ask that question, and forgive me if this isn't what you meant, but really what they mean is like, how do I become not scared so that I can start to do the thing? But like, sometimes that's not gonna happen, it's never gonna happen. Like, like, would you rather be scared on the couch or would you rather be scared doing the shit?
It's also I think it's the notion that the people that are doing it are not scared. Right. And people oftentimes ask me like, were you scared before you spoke in front of 600 people? Hell yes, like shaking. Even before I do something like this, I'm scared. If I'm not scared, it's a bad sign. It means I'm probably like being like full of myself or bored, or it's gonna be a mess. Like it's not gonna be good. So I always take fear, huh?
So were you scared?
I was scared.
Okay.
I was scared. Yes. Yes, I was scared.
And don't forget to connect to the present, because I think that's something that helps. Like for me, if I have a big movie coming up or something, you get nervous, you know, the bigger your opportunities get. Like our fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. That scares us. Like self-actualization is very scary. So I think that every time I get anxiety, all right, let me focus on the movie. Let me focus on what's right in front of me. Let me look at the footage. Let me spend time just enjoying now and putting my best effort into now, so it'll help alleviate some of that anxiety, which is completely natural and normal to feel.
Trust your gut. You always like actually know what the thing is that's supposed to be next. You just have to be still enough and comfortable enough in the stillness, even if you're fucking scared, to trust your gut.
Also apply. Doing stuff online, like that part of it, like it's a piece of paper or it's a form. Just take those steps, and then when you get that human interaction that is affirming, it's always the first step. Like the first step is never the thing that you have to worry about. So sometimes if that's all you can do, just do that. Last question.
Hi. Often queer people of color, we kind of don't believe that we deserve to be in certain spaces that we are in or invited to. So how do you gauge your value in all of your respective industries, making sure that you like get paid the same as your counterparts that are doing like the same things as you?
The question is, queer people of color often do not see their value in certain spaces. So you want to know how the panelists basically assess and create and determine what their value is in the space and use it to go forth in their work.
I tell them people. Like, quite frankly, like, whenever I know I'm doing something with someone and it feels unfair, because you know. You feel it. And so I usually will reach out to someone, or I'll challenge them, or I'll complain after. Like, I've done some shit knowing full well I wasn't getting paid for it, and when that shit came out, I told everybody I get paid for it, and I shamed them.
Within that too, don't be afraid to leave the job as well. I think for people of color, because we are in survival mode, we're afraid to lose a job, but sometimes you gotta give that shit up. You know, the coin ain't worth, you know, the begging. You know, and trust me, we're not gonna beg. We're not doing that no more. But yeah, like, don't be afraid of losing the job or losing the connection, because that means it wasn't for you, it wasn't meant for you.
And negotiate your rate. So many people will be like, oh, they told me their standard rate was $200. No. Always do the rate that makes you feel nauseous. So if it's $10,000 and they tell you it's $200, tell them to $10,000 and maybe you'll get to $5. Right? But at least you now made $5,000 instead of $400. Right? So I think, so always negotiate your rate, and don't be afraid to say no. And then sometimes they come back. You're like, no, you don't have a budget? Okay, great. I can't work with you on a budget, right? Because my time is valuable.
I definitely say don't make like business deals based off your self-esteem or how well you might think you do. Like, oh, well, this is what I think it's worth for now. For example, my first documentary, I remember we were doing like a contract for it, And like, if you renew it the second year, I could have optioned that I made triple times the rate that I did the first time, the licensing fee, excuse me, that I did the first time. And I was like, well, this is my first film, so, maybe no one will buy it for a second term. And what do? They bought it for a second term, and I could have triple that. So what I do now that I'm much further in my career, is I do my research. So whoever the top paid people are that you see, I sit with them and I ask questions, and then I get that information from people who you know are being paid in the bracket that you want to be paid, and what's great about that is you get the resource so they can help you get the money that you need, and you can also get an understanding of like what's reasonable in that realm. So always do your research. Don't do it based on how you feel about your project or how you feel about your work, because it might be, it might be worth more than you even know at the time, and you are worth more than anything. So always do your research. Like research, ask questions, and find out the resources who are in those spaces that are making top dollar, have the top lawyers, et cetera. So don't just jump into a contract because you just want to get the money really quick. Instant gratification is going to screw you over every time, and you need to be patient and understand that the long game is bigger than anything. Like I told you, yeah, you can get a screening fee, or you can get a fee to speak, or you can get equity. And then the company's sold, and then you're a millionaire out of one thing, one event. So you just have to pay attention to those nuances and do the research.
I mean, I think I'm not an echo that. I ask a ton of questions, especially if it's something that I haven't done before. I ask the folks that I know that have. But the bigger sort of echo of all of this is like, stop living in a scarcity mindset, right? Like, it is money to be made. There's things out there, like whether it's money or equity, maybe it's just like you want to do this thing and it's about the passion, right? Like, get out of the scarcity mindset that it's like, it's this one thing, it's only gonna be this one thing. Like, your blessings have your name on them. Period.
Yes.
And I would also just add finally, not to scam, but definitely to finesse. Be very comfortable to make some shit up. If you feel like there's a space where you can't identify someone who has walked in that space before you, then you pull up like, okay, well, I can walk in this space and here's what I can do. Period. Tell them what you can do, make it up. If you don't, even if you feel like you can do it, like you might not even have a, then that's when you start asking questions, okay, how much should I charge them for this? How much should I do this? But like, make it up. Sometimes you just never know. Like, you can come up with an organic idea and somebody else might put the bug in your ear like, oh, that's a $10,000 idea, and you were going to get ready to do it for $300, like, make it up.
Can I say one thing? You're beautiful. I just want to say, like, especially the month of June where there's pride flags everywhere, the queer community is supported by queer businesses, so I think it's important for us to look at who the queer businesses are and support the queer businesses, support the queer community, like Tomboy Acts, like the Phluid Project, like the Stonewall Inn. Just keep supporting the community, supports us.
Thank you. And that is our panel. How many of y'all know we have a party after this now? So, we are going to release y'all to freshen up the face beats, to get your lead in, lay back down, which is the case for me. We are going to see you all at Bowery Electric. We're turning up all night. It's open until 4 a.m., y'all.